Another episode of FSU Weather. I'm student meteorologist Colby Pope. A lot to talk about in today's show. We had subtropical storm Alberto that made landfall yesterday. It's continued to push itself northward into Alabama and Tennessee. But we've had some resurgent rain we've still had moving through the area. We'll talk about that more. And unfortunately, that pattern will stay in place even as Alberto continues to move out of the picture. Had a lot of rain and shower and thunderstorm activity move through over the last couple of hours. That's moved off to our north and to our east. Not really any other activity really developing coming up off the coast, so we'll have to wait for tomorrow's daytime heating to see any more possibilities of a shower or thunderstorm tonight. 30% chance, 72 degrees, mostly cloudy skies there, so definitely keep the umbrella handy for any activities tonight. And then into your Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Wow, look at that. It's going to be 80s, possibly 90 on Friday, but those showers and thunderstorms do stay into the picture. Now we're going to hand things off to Jake, and we're going to look locally.
All right, thanks a lot, Colby. We're going to get a little bit more detailed here. We're starting off with a time lapse from earlier today, showing you that rainfall sticking around in the Tallahassee area through the entirety of the afternoon, although we have seen a little bit of clearing in the last couple of hours or so, although at the just about live here at 6 o'clock, you're seeing some more of these clouds starting to filter in out of the southwest with this weather stem camera overlooking Doak Campbell Stadium. So here's that current view in the background. 79 degrees currently. Scattered thunderstorms are working their way back into the area after about an hour or two of dry conditions. Winds are out of the south-southwest at about 7 miles per hour, which is much lower than what we've seen at times earlier today. We've seen some winds getting up to about 20 miles per hour or so earlier in the afternoon. As far as the temperatures are concerned, a lot of rain-cooled spots throughout the Big Bend. 77 in Thomasville being the lowest spot. We even see some areas in Thomas County that could be a little bit cooler than that with some rain in the last 30 minutes or so. 79 in Quincy as well as Tallahassee, and a little bit warmer actually by the coast in Apalachicola, currently sitting at 81 degrees. Moving into the dew points, the mugginess is sticking around in the wake of Alberto. It's 72 degrees with your dew point in Tallahassee right now, 78 in Apalachicola. Nothing compared to what we actually had yesterday evening, as we had a dew point of 82 degrees at Tallahassee International Airport. Could be approaching record territory for the month of May. That helped our heat index jump from 75 to 102 in 1 hour here yesterday evening, with a high temperature that was actually set just before 8 p.m. yesterday. So as far as the satellite and radar is concerned, some spotty showers and thunderstorms still in the Big Bend. A little bit more rain coverage earlier in the day, but we're starting to see that filtering back into the city over the next 30 minutes or so, with some embedded lightning within a couple of these cells as well. So you want to stay inside for at least the next hour or so as these cells eventually move their way back out across the rest of the state of Florida. Still plenty of moisture funneling in the wake of Alberto, not exactly directly correlated with the storm, but plenty of rain up the I-75 corridor just to the north of Orlando. So keep that in mind for the rest of the night. This pattern of spotty showers and storms is really going to be continuing for the next day or so, as this futurecast shows. A bit of a lull in the action overnight, but then tomorrow afternoon, really, the storms start to fire back up as we get back up into the 80s in terms of temperatures. The winds right now, pretty gusty out of the south, some spots getting up to about 20 miles per hour or so. Winds out of the south pretty much anywhere across the eastern Gulf Coast. As far as tonight's concerned, rain chances dropping a bit down to 30%, mostly cloudy skies with the threat of some isolated or scattered storms sticking around, although that should diminish a little bit as we get into the overnight hours. 72 degrees for your nighttime low. And then tomorrow, scattered thunderstorms. Temperatures are going to actually be climbing back up into the 80s. Winds out of the south at about 11 miles per hour. Your day planners, here we go, getting back up to about 84 degrees by 3 p.m. And then your 7-day forecast. The rain chances stick around, but we're gradually starting to work back towards our typical summertime pattern, as you'll see by Monday and Tuesday, getting some partly cloudy skies and only the threat of isolated thunderstorms back in the picture. So now to zoom out to the southeast, here's Colby.
Hey, let's take a look at the southeast, and they're really starting to feel the effects of Alberto there. 79 here in Tallahassee, 82 up in Montgomery, but notice, see the yellows there, those oranges and yellows? That's where Alberto's at right now. And now it's a subtropical depression, Alberto, moving into Tennessee, but really bringing some relief. They would like that out in Shreveport. It's sitting at 95. It's a cooker out west across the southeast. But look at all that moisture coming up associated with Alberto. 72-degree dew point there in Atlanta, 73 over in Montgomery. A little bit drier out west compared to what we've had here along the coast and for the eastern portions of the southeast. And right there you can look at Alberto. It made landfall just west of Panama City and then went right up by 65 through Alabama. And then now crossing into portions of Tennessee. It'll continue that northerly track and end up in the almost into the Great Lakes region there, and it will start to continue to lose strength as it is. 19-mile-per-hour winds coming in out of the south for Tallahassee. 8 there in Montgomery. You can really see that counterclockwise flow around that circulation, which is what's the remnants of Alberto there in Mississippi. Futurecast as we move into your Wednesday. Alberto moving out of the picture, and then scattered showers and thunderstorms across the entire area. Not as prevalent as we saw today, but very isolated. Definitely isolated chances. A lot of energy coming in off of the Gulf. For tonight's temperature, these temperatures really don't drop much because we have a lot of cloud cover. We're socked in across the southeast. 73 here in Tallahassee, 72 over in Montgomery, 69 Tupelo, 74 over in Shreveport, down along the peninsula, 75 there in Tampa, possible shower or thunderstorm dealing with overnight there. And as we go into tomorrow, 82 there in Atlanta, 86 over in Montgomery. Those showers and thunderstorms starts to push a little further north, and we start to have another system come in from the west there. So Tupelo and Jackson could see a shower or thunderstorm there. And let's take a look a little bit nationally, though, because, boy, there is a lot going on nationally in there, Jake.
Yeah, Colby, thanks for giving me the extra 20 seconds to talk about some of that, because we got plenty to talk about, as well as what happened over the weekend. Some crazy tornadoes out in Wyoming and Colorado, as well as a rather terrifying flash flooding situation that occurred, unfortunately, in Maryland over the weekend. As for now, the heat is the dominant story in the South Plains, 94 degrees in Dallas, some spots trying to crack the triple digits in western Texas. Areas like Lubbock down towards El Paso, starting to see those temperatures really kicking up, and the warmth is actually spreading up into the Great Lakes as well. 90 degrees in Kansas City, 88 in Detroit, which is pretty insane for this time of year. Chicago actually set some records with a couple straight 95-degree days up there by Lake Michigan. The dew points, the mugginess is really sticking around through the eastern two-thirds of the country as well, but the big feature that we want to point out here is this dry line across western Texas into the Panhandle. That's associated with this severe threat that we're watching in Oklahoma, parts of Kansas, and even down into the Texas Panhandle. They've been seeing plenty of action over the past couple of days, and that will be continuing tonight with that instability really settling in over the next couple of hours or so. Plenty of convergence going on in this area as well, right along the dry line just to the east in the Texas Panhandle, and that's going to help fuel some of those thunderstorms later on in the day. And of course, we have the circulation of subtropical depression Alberto in the southeast that's starting to cross into Tennessee now, with some gustiness still behind it, about 18-mile-per-hour winds out of the south right here in Tallahassee. So here's the current national radar, and here is the circulation of Alberto showing up remarkably well. It's a subtropical depression, but the way you see that, it could honestly look like a Category 1 hurricane with that sort of eyeball-looking structure. Thankfully, not anything close to that level of intensity, and plenty of activity going on behind it as we zoom in. These spotty showers and storms through Georgia, South Carolina, and even down as far south as the Florida Peninsula still. So plenty of tropical moisture left out of the Gulf in the wake of this storm, really. The active alerts, plenty going on across the center part of the country. Severe thunderstorm watches spreading all the way from the Minneapolis metro area down into Kansas, with a tornado watch in effect just to the west of Oklahoma City, so largely covering the western portion of the state, including a little snippet of the panhandle of Oklahoma as well. As far as the flooding concerns are concerned, flash flood watch is in effect for a big part of the southeast, directly associated with Alberto, and a flash flood warning currently in effect just to the east of Asheville, North Carolina, as well as portions of northwestern Alabama. As far as the heat is concerned in the southwest, that prompts some fire weather watches in parts of New Mexico and Arizona, as well as a heat advisory in western Texas, where again triple digits could be sticking around for really the next few days or so. So that's something to keep in mind. Of course, stay hydrated if you are out there. And the severe weather in the plains. It's always that time of year here. We're in May, and we're going to start to see that really continuing into the month of June as well. Severe thunderstorm watches through Iowa into Kansas, with some active warnings, plenty in Kansas and Oklahoma right now, with more of that activity expected later on. Hopefully that quells a little bit of the drought situation in parts of Oklahoma, where an exceptional drought is currently in effect, but thankfully in Alberto's wake, we're going to start to see these dry areas in the southeast really going away as well. As far as that storm outlook is concerned, the enhanced risk for tonight in Oklahoma, and then we work into tomorrow, we see the marginal risk really sticking around, even a little bit of a threat up in Ohio and Indiana with subtropical depression Alberto. As far as tonight's forecast is concerned, 70s across much of the southern tier of the country, with that triple-digit heat sticking around in central Texas. Now we're going to start zooming back in to close the show, starting with Colby with a look at Florida.
Well, let's take a look at Florida, but first I want to show some footage yesterday was sent in to us from the Alligator Point area. Look at those waves right there crashing the shore. I mean, this is some 150 miles east of where Alberto actually made landfall, so it really just shows you the power of the ocean there, so far from where that center of circulation even made landfall. So that's where we really harp on, you know, that you have to be really take all these storms seriously, because you can feel those ramifications way away from where it makes landfall. And speaking of that landfall, you can see it made landfall yesterday on Memorial Day, and right there to the west of Panama City, came right up I-65 throughout the day today. And boy, Jake was talking about that structure, and boy, does it look great, even as it's crossing into the volunteer state now. Very good eye wall, and I mean, you can really see those showers right there, and those bands even coming down as far into the Tallahassee area, affecting us in the Big Bend today. So, wow, just amazing there. It almost looks better than it did over open water, in my opinion. That drought monitor, we're only seeing some abnormally dry conditions. Don't worry about this. This will be updated on Thursday, and I really expect a lot of these yellows to really disappear. Alberto definitely helped with that. We might have a little yellow stick around for the Big Easy because they did miss out on a lot of that shower and thunderstorm activity. Those temperatures currently 85 over in Gainesville. Full sun there. 79 here in Tallahassee. We've had a showery moving through there. 84 Fort Myers, 82 there in Tampa. So very moderated conditions. Those winds are coming right out of the south. We were looking at that earlier. Very strong 19 miles per hour there. That future cast, it's really going to be about tomorrow's daytime heating that will cause that convection we'll see. Not as prevalent today as Alberto really moving out of the picture there. And as tonight's forecast, it's really going to be about possibility of some showers and thunderstorms across the mainland peninsula. 75 there in Tampa, 73 here in Tallahassee, warmer out in Pensacola down I-10 at 75. And for tomorrow, really almost a carbon copy of what we've seen today, but those showers will be a little bit more isolated. It'll depend on where those sea breeze setups happen and that daytime heating. 84 there in Gainesville, 81 Tampa, 84 Tallahassee, going down I-10, much warmer there at 86. 83 down in Fort Myers, so really some nice temperatures and very warm across the area. We start to get back into those 80s, so Alberto getting out of the picture, and we'll start to go back into those conditions there. But looking much localer into the Big Bend area, let's give it to Jake.
All right, thanks, Colby. We're going to wrap things up here, starting off with another look at our time lapse from today outside Doak Campbell Stadium. We'll see if some more of that storm activity has started to push its way in actually here. And yes, it has. Those blue skies are gone from what we even had 12 minutes ago here on campus. So some rainfall is possible in the next hour or two across the Tallahassee metro. Keep that in mind if you have any dinner plans on this Tuesday evening. Currently 79 degrees, scattered thunderstorms across the area, and the wind's still going to be out of the south. At times getting gusty, so all this says 5 miles per hour. We've been seeing readings from 15 to 20 mile per hour area really throughout the day, and that has not really changed in the last couple of hours or so. Still seeing some rain-cooled spots across the Big Bend, although we're starting to lose some of that daytime heating, so you'll see those temperatures gradually trickle down just a little bit. 82 degrees in Perry, 80 in Valdosta, and 82 being one of the hot spots just to our northwest in Bainbridge. The mugginess is really sticking around behind Alberto, with these 70s really dominating in terms of the dew points. 75-degree dew point in Perry, 72 Valdosta, as well as 72 right here in Tallahassee. We've been seeing those consistent 70s really for the last seemingly couple of weeks or so. I don't think I've seen a number below 68 in quite a while. Again, the winds largely out of the south and southwest, at times getting above 20 miles per hour. We don't see any numbers above that quite about now, but 15 to 20 is pretty consistent across the entirety of the Big Bend, moving up into southern and middle Georgia as well. The storm coverage is starting to lessen just a little bit, although we're seeing a little bit of a flare-up in the last hour or so to Tallahassee and just about to the south along the Leon-Wakulla line as well. These storms going to be crossing over I-10, so it could be a little bit of a sloppy commute there if you're getting home late from work. Otherwise, starting to see that threat dwindling down just a little bit as this futurecast shows you going through the rest of the night tonight. Some spotty showers and maybe an isolated rumble of thunder is possible, but more activity is going to be picking up with that daytime heating through the day tomorrow. As far as tonight is concerned, we're looking at 70s for lows anywhere across the board. 70 in Valdosta, 75 in St. Marks, 72 degrees in Quincy and Apalachicola. By the water being the warm spot at 76. And then 80s everywhere tomorrow. Bainbridge really sticking out at 87 degrees is the high spot. 84 right here in the capital city with scattered thunderstorms possible, really, especially in the afternoon hours. And that trend really sticks around for the next 5 days or so. 60% chance of rain on Wednesday, but the temperatures start to gradually warm back up, which is a bit of a sign that we're starting to return to this more summertime sort of pattern where we're going to be getting more of this daytime heating, afternoon style sea breeze sort of thunderstorms. Really sticking around through Sunday with the rain chances thankfully dwindling down just a little bit by Monday and Tuesday. 89 degrees for your daytime highs. Monday and Tuesday, and then we're going to be watching for the potential of a cold front to work its way in through early next week. So we'll be on again at 11 o'clock tonight. Otherwise, we'll see you same time, same place tomorrow evening. Have a good night.